Cyberpunk is one of the best games ever created. However, even Cyberpunk is not perfect. So in this video we're gonna expose all the issues of Cyberpunk. Why is it important? Because by identifying the issues of the game, we can figure out how to make a better sequel, for example. Let's begin. And let's begin with the thing that inspired me to make this video in the first place. So I was riding through the Badlands around the Night City and I came across this little town near the city where there were no people outside, but there were some loud noises. And I immediately thought of a ghost town. And I know what you might think, that this is not that type of a game. However, it doesn't matter what I thought it was, because in that moment, for the first time in the game, I felt that I was missing something in the game. Missing what, you may ask? Missing exploration. Cyberpunk has exactly zero exploration. Don't believe me? Try to play HUDless. I wanted to take some clean footages of Cyberpunk, so I tried playing HUDless. And it is impossible. The game relies on the minimap and other interface options too much. So how does it work usually? You open a big map, see the available activities and then using the minimap to get to the activity. When you start doing the activity, you follow the minimap to your destination and follow the mission objective interface instructions. And so you complete the mission. As you see, zero exploration. In The Witcher 3, the previous game from CD Projekt Red, even though we had the minimap that would show the path to our objective, we still had exploration. Because all the activities were not marked on the map. You could just ride along some ruins or a village and go investigate that location. And there you would find a unique quest. It is not something that happens in Cyberpunk, and it actually ruins the open world experience of the game. Like, Cyberpunk is supposed to be an open world game, but what is the purpose of the open world? Well, if you ask me, it is the freedom to go and explore the open world, the thing that you personally find interesting. It is the feeling of discovering something. So by placing all the points of interest on the map, you are killing the open world experience. The open world in Cyberpunk is dead. The Night City, the thing that is supposed to be the main focus of the game, is unfortunately dead. The city is just decoration. You just arrive at the point on the map, do the job and go to the other point on the map. In general, I support quest markers, but Cyberpunk went too far with it. It is literally the brain-off experience. In general, in Cyberpunk 2 we need our exploration back. Now, before we move on to the next issue of the game, if you like this video, I'm gonna ask you to subscribe, ring the notification bell and leave a like. It will help a lot. And also check my other videos. Now let's move on. Now, another thing that we're gonna discuss is the issue of guns. Cyberpunk is considered to be a shooter, so it is an important part of the game. And let's begin with iconic weapons. If you forgot, iconic weapons are unique weapons that can be obtained only in certain places, or as a reward from doing certain quests. As a concept, it is cool. I love unique items in games. But in practice, because Cyberpunk is a semi-realistic game, there are only a few iconic weapons that are actually noteworthy. For example, Fenrir, a submachine gun that stuns the enemy and applies quick hacks. Or for example, Headhunter, marks the enemy. The marked enemy receives plus 200 damage to the head. That's basically it for the noteworthy iconic weapons. Now, there are also some iconic guns that have some special unique technical qualities. For example, Rebecca's shotgun, Guts. It is basically a basic shotgun from the game, with increased damage, 2 more rounds in the magazine and a unique skin. That's it. But majority of iconic guns just have extra crit chance to apply burn, bleed, poison, etc. Basically, even though the game has a lot of unique weapons, majority of them are useless, so you might as well use regular weapons. Especially considering that you can modify regular weapons but you can't modify iconic weapons. To my knowledge, initially you were able to modify iconic weapons in previous versions of the game, and then they took it away, basically killing the iconic weapons. Because what's the point of them if regular modified weapons are not worse than iconic weapons? So iconic weapons are usually useless. Like higher chance of bleeding if V is on her period. Of course I'm joking, but you got the idea. Like, there's a gun that is iconic and it says, if you are below 30% HP, it improves the weapon handling. Like, it is bad. Like, it isn't something useful, something you would want. Now, in the end, the special attributes of majority of iconic guns are negligible. Now, another thing that is related to guns is that all the loot in the game is scale independent on your level, and it is basically the illusion of progression. You basically loot the same gun, but it is of a different higher tier. The same gun, but with different numbers on the screen. And it would not be such a bad idea if there were not so many tiers. There's tier 1, tier 1 plus, tier 2, tier 2 plus, and so on till tier 5 plus plus. And you need to collect a lot of resources to upgrade your equipment. For example, if you get that cool submachine gun Fernier that I mentioned earlier, early in the game you get that gun as tier 1. And then you have to collect resources to carry that gun through the game, upgrading it through all the tiers. It is exhausting, and if you have like 3 guns you want to carry through all the tiers, you will literally lack the resources to do so until late in the game. Now, in my opinion, an appropriate amount of upgrades would be Basic Gun Plus, and Basic Gun Plus Plus. Because all of those tiers basically again kill the exploration. Like, you know what kind of loot you're gonna loot. You cannot be level 10 and go loot a gun that is tier 5. Again, it kills the exploration because you know beforehand what you're gonna loot. And why tier 1 gun that does 20 damage and tier 5 gun that does 100 damage look the same? For example, in the Elder Scrolls games loot also scales to your level, but you get a very good illusion of progression because all the loot looks different. First you get an iron sword, later an elven sword, later an ebony, later a daedric. Yes, the game scales loot to your level, but because it looks different and has a different name, the progression in the game looks a lot more natural. Now, another thing that I'm missing in the game and is related to guns is dual-wielding handguns. I think it is a huge L that we can't dual-wield handguns. Jackie does. We can even get 2 of his guns later in the game, but we can't use them together. And it is not because V is not physically strong enough. V can wield giant hammers, but can't handle 2 handguns? No, it's just something that the developers did not add in the game. Probably because we would not be able to aim properly. But I will tell you, we don't need to aim with both guns. That's the whole point of having 2 guns, to aura farm. But you can't aura farm if you aim. And to finish that section of guns and gameplay, I want to say that Cyberpunk is not that great of a shooter. Enemies literally have aimbot laser guns. There's no way to get out of the corner of a wall for half a second, throw a grenade, or make a shot without being teared into shreds. The only way to do it is to have a 70% Sun Devastain. The issue is that the game basically transforms into HP trait every time you have a line of sight with an enemy. You have more HP and can heal, that's why you win. It is not a very satisfying gameplay. Now, not long ago I've made a video Cyberpunk after 5 years. And it is basically the opposite of this video, where I primarily praise Cyberpunk. The link will be in the comment section and in the description. Well, one of the things that I praised Cyberpunk for is that the game does not cage you within your build. You can have multiple builds and playstyles in one playthrough. You can be a shinobi, netrunner, cowboy, barbarian in one playthrough without respecting your points. Well, even though what I said is true, and Cyberpunk does give you a lot of freedom in terms of your playstyle and stuff like that, but Cyberpunk does not go 100% with it. It's more like 80%. For example, the game caps you at level 60 and you have a limited amount of perk points. That is a trend in the gaming industry in general, and I think it is bad. What is the point to have features and mechanics in games and then to forbid gamers to use them? Yes, some may say that it is for the second playthrough. Well, what about the first playthrough? I think it matters more. And in the end, if a gamer wants to use another build for this particular section of the game, and you're actively stopping the gamer from doing it, it means that his experience of playing the game is not as good as it could be. And who is suffering in the end? The player. Well, if the player would want, he can play a one build playthrough without being forced into it. The same thing with cyberware. You have limited slots for each cyberware. I mean, I get why you only have one slot for ice implants, but we for example can't have a Sun Devastain and a cyber deck at the same time. Dare I ask why? And some may say, well, cyber psychosis. No, we have cyber capacity points to prevent that. As long as I fit in my cyber capacity limit, why does the game care what I install? I can do without hand implants, arm implants, neural system implants, frontal cortex implants, but give me the ability to have a cyber deck and a Sandevastain. Again, the game prevents the gamer from experiencing the features and mechanics that exist in the game. I think the gamer should be able to experience everything the game has to offer. Now, it is all because the developers are afraid to give gamers powers. I've made a video about that issue named "Games Forgot to Be Fun". You can check it out. It will also be in the comment section and in the description. And the last one, following the previous issue. Again, the game gatekeeps something from you. I mean finishers. Maybe you know, maybe you forgot, but Cyberpunk has finishers in the game. And they're quite cool. But again, there is a problem with gatekeeping them. You must spend points to unlock them, though in my opinion they should be free, because they're too cool to gatekeep them. And again, I'm gonna reference the Elder Scrolls games, specifically Skyrim, where we have finishers, and they're free. And it is cool. My opinion is, just put the bags in the bro. Let the gamers have fun. And that's it for today. Make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell, leave a like and check out my other videos, the ones that I referenced earlier, or if not, I have quite a few of them on a broad variety of video game topics. Particularly, I want to highlight the top 10 video game betrayals. I think it is very cool. In it, I'm not only rating the betrayals, but also looking for the motivation and excuses for those betrayals. I think it is quite fun. See you there.
Said what you had